Hello, we are here to read Beat the Cat, Pete at the Beach one more time. And today we're going to work on fluency. Fluency means reading nice and smooth and not like a robot. So, one thing that readers do to read with fluency is they notice quotation marks. Say it with me. Quotation marks. Quotation marks mean that someone's talking. So when readers see the quotation marks, they know that they have to change their voice to make their voice sound like the character who is talking. Now in this book, we know that 3 people talk in this book. One person who talks is Pete, one person who talks is Bob, and the other person who talks is the mom. So I thought as we are reading today, you can say the things that Bob and Pete say, and I can say the things that Mom says. So look what I've done. Whenever Pete is talking, you'll see the quotation marks. I've marked it in blue, all of the things inside of the quotation marks. That's going to be your job to read it in Pete's voice. So think about how are you going to make Pete's voice. And then for Bob, I've highlighted everything inside of the quotation marks for Bob in green. So think about how you're going to make your voice different for the parts where Bob is talking. All right, do you have it in your mind? How your voice is going to sound when Pete is talking? And do you have it in your mind about how your voice is going to sound when Bob is talking? And then when Mom is talking, I didn't highlight that part. I'm going to read that part and I'm going to change my voice to sound like Mom. All right, here we go. Pete the Cat, Pete at the Beach. All right, so I'm going to read the words. When we get to this part where Bob is talking, you're going to read this part in your Bob voice. And when we get to this part, you're going to read this part in your Pete voice. Okay, you got it? Let's go. It is a hot day. Pete the cat goes to the beach with his mom and his brother Bob. Your turn. Bob says Pete. Did you read that part like Bob? Did you read that part like Pete? Okay. All right, here, Pete's talking on this page. Bob likes to surf. He rides the big waves. It looks like fun, says Pete. Go in the water, says Mom. Says Pete. Did you hear how I changed my voice when Mom talked? I love reading with fluency. It's so fun. Pete makes a sand castle. His mom helps him dig. Here comes a big wave, and there goes Pete. Oh no, where did his sand castle go? Bob rides a big wave, says Pete. Are you reading the parts where Pete is talking inside of the quotation marks? Pete and his mom take a walk. They find seashells, they see a crab. Pete's feet get wet. His feet feel cool. The rest of him is hot. It is time for lunch. Pete eats a sandwich. He drinks lemonade. The sun is very hot, and Pete is very, very hot. Pete is wet and cool. Oh no, Bob is wet and cool. All right, here you go. It's going to be your turn again. Here Pete's talking inside of those quotation marks. Here Bob is talking inside of those quotation marks. You ready? Okay. Says Pete. Says Bob. Pete throws the ball. His mom catches it. Let's Let's get our feet wet, says Mom. Says Pete. The water is cool. It feels good. Pete goes in deeper. Bob waves to Pete. He yells. Pete does not say maybe later. He says, says Bob. Pete lies on the board. Says Bob. Pete paddles out. He waits for a big wave. A big wave is coming, says Bob. Pete stands up. Then Pete falls down. It was scary, but it did not hurt, says Bob. Pete wants to try again now. Pete lies down again. He paddles out and waits. Here comes a wave. Pete stands up. This time he rides the wave, says Bob. Pete wants to surf all day. Bob does too, so they take turns. Pete and Bob rock and roll with the waves. What a great day. It's okay to be afraid, but it is more fun to surf. Wow, today you really noticed where the quotation marks are, and you changed your voice to sound like the character when you were reading those parts. The other thing I wanted to do with you today is to practice retelling the story. Remember, when we retell the story, we say what happens in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So, first we're going to start with the beginning. Let's go back to the beginning to remember what happens. Oh, yes. Are you remembering? Tell me what happens in the beginning. In the beginning, Pete and Bob and the mom go to the beach. All right. What happens in the middle? Say in the middle. Yes, in the middle, Bob is surfing a lot, but Pete is kind of afraid to go surfing. But in the end, what happens in the end? Yes, in the end, even though he's afraid, Pete goes surfing and he has a great time. We did it. We retold the story. We told what happened in the beginning, the middle, and the end. I'll see you again next week to read a new book with you. Bye.